Probably a lot of you might have seen this, but any of you remember this?
I am here today on the Neil Cavuto Show and happy to announce that I'm formally announcing my candidacy for the U.S. Senate from Kentucky.
Well, that was Rand Paul then announcing his candidacy to run for senator from Kentucky. And look where he is now, sworn in today as senator from Kentucky. I had the opportunity to talk to both he and his dad, Ron Paul, a very unusual event for Rand Paul, who used to intern in his dad's office, now among that august group of newly elected senators who share a unique club membership. He is one of 100, and both he and his dad were very happy to chat. Did you know that someday, or think, gosh, I might not only be serving with my father, I might be a senator?
No, I think even a year ago it was really a wild dream probably, but I think the mood of the country was ready for someone who would stand up and say, you know what, we don't have any money. We've got to do something as a country to retrench. We've got to quit spending money we don't have.
Congressman, when Rand decided to run, were you encouraging him, discouraging him, hands off, what?
Pretty much hands off, because I knew he'd do what he wanted to do or thought he should do. And I think somebody like that has to take advantages of the opportunities. And he had an opportunity to run for the Senate, and you have to start where you can. And someday, you know, he might even make it to the House of Representatives. Who knows?
There is that little battle, right? The House or Senate. The Senate supposedly is cooler because there are fewer of you. So do you guys play that game back?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is when Henry Clay was first elected, it was to the Senate. He thought it was boring and too slow, and he went back to the House.
Right, there you go. There you go.
How about John Quincy Adams? He went to the House for 17 years after he was president.
After being president.
So there's something to be said about the House.
All kidding aside, gentlemen, you have a big burden starting today. And I was thinking of you, Congressman, because it's going to be your party in the majority right away.
Right.
Addressing what appears to be unending debt. We're piling it up at a rate of $4 billion a day. We're going to be running up against that debt ceiling in a little more than a couple of months. Would you raise it?
No, I never voted for any of the spending, so why should I raise the debt for the people who've been spending the money? So for me, it's a very comfortable vote. People who vote for that spending, in the past, there's been a lot of people who vote for the spending, then they vote against raising the debt limit. That's a bit of hypocrisy. But we are in a mess, and there's a big problem going on. And if the debt limit isn't increased, it's going to cause problems. But I see the alternative of continuing to spend and borrowing and inflating and bringing on the next crisis much, much worse than facing the reality today that we cannot continue the spending.
Senator Austin Goolsbee, the White House economic advisor, says it would be catastrophic if, for whatever meritorious reasons, like your dad just stated, we were to risk insolvency, even briefly.
Well, I would ask Mr. Goolsbee to read President Obama's statement from 2006 when he voted against raising the debt ceiling. He said the leadership is a failure. We have to address the debt problem. And as a senator, Senator Obama voted against raising the debt ceiling. So it's a little disingenuous for her people now to say, oh, the sky's falling if we don't do it. But what I would say is before we get to that vote, I'll vote to raise the debt ceiling if we attach a balanced budget rule to it. If they say no more debt will be added, and from here on out we'll balance the budget, I'll vote one time to raise the debt ceiling. But we shouldn't give in and just say, oh, we have to raise the debt ceiling. Let's make them be fiscally responsible. That's what the people want. They didn't send me up here just to be a rubber stamp for President Obama's agenda.